Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we are looking at another Vanishing Ink release, and that is David Regal's Canon, the Any Card Prediction System. This I think is something that a few people have questions about and wanted to learn more about. And I honestly think it is very good, but it has some things that I'm not necessarily a fan of or that I really like. So I also want to point that out for you as well before making your purchase. So having said that, let's roll the intro and get straight into the review. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Canon. So what essentially is Canon? Canon is marketed as the Any Card Prediction System, which means that you could have a playing card appear in an envelope, in your pocket, in a box, in another deck, underneath the mat, anywhere that you want, and has predicted what the spectator would have named from the start. Now I will try and do a small performance for you of this effect, and I hope that it will play well, so let's roll it right now. Okay, so for the performance, I'm gonna hopefully try and deal with the angles, but you would have a deck of cards that you can remove from the box, and you're gonna ask your spectators to just think and name any card. Really, in the heat of the moment, they're just gonna think and name any card without any procedure. They really think of any card, and let's go in this case for the Two of Hearts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up a bit for this and show you that you're gonna go through the deck and you're gonna find the Two of Hearts that the spectator has named. So you're gonna go through, right here is the Two of Hearts that they could have named, and they could have named absolutely any card, right? But they decide to go for the Two of Hearts. And honestly, what's interesting is that they could have really went for anything. But from the start, you had one card in your pocket, and you really can show that there's nothing in this pocket and only one card in your other pocket. And that is, of course, the match, the Two of Hearts, nothing else inside of your pocket. You only had one card, and it's the exact same one as the one that they named. So that is a quick performance of Canon. Now I'm gonna also reset Canon in front of you just to show you how quick it is. And right now, Canon is reset and ready to go for the next table. That's how fast it resets as well. So that is a quick and probably bad performance of Canon, but I think it gets the idea through. So now that you've seen the entire performance, let's get into where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So you can buy Canon directly from Vanishing Ink, and it will set you back 35 USD. However, it is also available from other retailers such as ALAKAZAM Magic, which is where I bought mine. And what do you get with your purchase? One, you get this very nice box, very beautiful packaging with the magnetic lock. Inside, you're gonna get a tutorial with David Regal that goes around 30 to 40 minutes, in which he explains to you how to use it, how it came to be, everything that you need to know, all of the instructions, pretty much everything that you would ever need to know about this is explained in very, very good detail. Then, of course, you get the main thing here, which is the deck of cards. So this deck of cards will allow you to get any named card in an impossible position at any point in time. So this deck does the most of the work for you because you will have to work yourself as well when doing this. It is not self-working, but the deck is doing that. And then you also get this, which is something that I will personally never use, but you also get this really big envelope here. This envelope in which you can kind of reveal the card in, but I honestly feel I would never carry this around with me, and I don't see who would carry around this with them at gigs or anything. I've never seen an envelope like this in this decade at least. So I don't know. The envelope is also gimmicked and allows you to have a card inserted in it and removed in a really cool and interesting way. But personally, it's something that I will never in my life use because, well, it just doesn't fit me. And I don't see why you would carry around an envelope this big to reveal just a playing card. I think you could just do this with a normal black envelope or a Tyvek envelope, and you will essentially be doing the same thing and making it look more natural. But anyway, if that suits your performance style, it is provided to you as well. Knowing all of this, what is the difficulty of Canon? Well, the difficulty of Canon depends on your proficiency with sleight of hand. The performance that I did to you is the difficult performance that does use sleight of hand and misdirection. I know for the camera, it's probably really bad and it probably doesn't work as much because it works in the real world, and for camera, you can't really distract the gaze of the camera. But the one that I did was the difficult performance. So if that seemed easy to you, then this is easy. If not, he does give you a ton of variations where you can use this without having to use any sleight of hand moves like palms or gambler's cop or anything like that. He teaches you ways of just doing this with objects. So you put the envelope on top of the deck, you take the deck away. The classic load procedure for loading envelopes and other things, he teaches you that as well. So you can do this without sleight of hand if you don't feel comfortable. But even the sleight of hand that is needed to do the more complicated reveals is, I feel, in my opinion, if you've been in Magic for quite a bit, not that hard. Moving on out to practicality. So how practical is this? Well, what you need for this is, of course, the Canon deck. I don't know why I'm calling it the Canon deck, but I will call it the Canon deck because it is the main piece of this entire thing. This is what allows you to do the effect, essentially. So you will need to carry around the deck, and that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to carry around the envelope, feel free. But personally, the way that I do it is I just do it with the box or in the pocket or in the wallet. So a card to wallet, card to pocket, or inside of the box. What I like to do most of the time is take out the cards, really be minute in the way that I'm closing the box and place it in a really weird way as to draw a bit of attention to it. And then as I do the effect, I tell you, do you remember at the start, I had placed the box really carefully on the table because I didn't want to make a noise with it, because there's actually, I don't know if you can hear, there's something inside of the box, and then I open it up and I remove the card and I show that it was the card that they named. So that's the way that I like to do it. If it's at a table, it's the way that I've performed it. But when I do this standing up, I like to just go for the pocket or for the wallet. I don't like to complicate myself with other things. So most of the time, you just need to carry around this deck. In terms of examinability, the deck is 0% examinable. It is very much absolutely unexaminable, so that is something that you need to keep in mind. Neither is the envelope. So if ever you want to use the envelope is not examinable as well. So keep that in mind if ever that's something you want to use. In terms of repeatability, it is any card at any time. They could even name, I believe, the Jokers if they so want. So yeah, it is pretty much any card and you can repeat it as long as you want. So that is fine. In terms of angles, the angles I feel could be done 360, depending on the version that you do, can be done 360, if not 180. It really depends on your performance venue and the routine that you put around the deck. In terms of reset, as you saw, the reset is relatively quick. It takes around maybe 5 seconds to reset and you're good to go again. And I feel that it can be done in the open in conversation and maybe people aren't going to notice anything. So it is a very subtle and quick reset. And in terms of table space, you do not necessarily need a table, but I think it is better to just place down the card box, the card on top of the box, and to manage a bit of your props while having them on the table. Because if you do place these props in the hand of the spectator, they may want to inspect or touch them or whatever, and it's not really optimal because they will see how this works or they will find something very fishy. In regards to where to perform this, you can perform this in Zoom shows, virtual shows, also live performances, close up, any way you want, even on Stage Parlor. I could see brilliant ways of using this. I've tried to use it with the Unbelievelope, but it doesn't work very well because there's a visual discrepancy that I don't like. So it doesn't work with something like Unbelievelope because of the principle, but I do think that you can find ways of making this into something else and having a stage reveal as well with this card and with this system. I feel you can for sure do that in a parlor stage environment. So this can pretty much be used anywhere. Having said all of that, what are the positives and negatives of Canon? And let's start us out as always with the negatives. In my opinion, there is only one major negative and one negative just for me. Let's start with the one that's not really negative, is the envelope. I feel the envelope is not necessarily needed. I feel it's a bit tacky and a bit outdated, but that is just my opinion. I would never even use it or think of using it in my performances, but it is there for you. It's not a major negative, but I don't know if that put up production costs or the price of it whatsoever. but I just feel it's not really something interesting, at least for me. But the only major negative of this is that nothing is inspectable. This deck cannot be touched or handled by the spectator pretty much whatsoever, because even if they do a small movement with their hand like this and they look down, they will see discrepancies and they will see things that they are not supposed to see. So this is 0% examinable. You're gonna have to really deal with them and deal with your audience management in order to avoid that. But in terms of the positives, it is very well produced. The instructions are great. The method is genius. The different applications of this are great. And this is really, if you think about it, an index system built without an index. So the deck of cards is your index, and this is really, really nice. This is something that I'm definitely going to use because I love how free it is. There's literally absolutely no restrictions as to the card name. They can truly name any card that they want, and that will be the one revealed, which is great. So it's very well made. The effect is good. It leaves you the opportunity to think of your own effects as well, which is always a major positive. So having said all of that, would I recommend Canon, and what do I rate it out of 10? So if you're interested in owning the deck that lets you do this effect, I think you will not be disappointed. It will allow you to do what it says, and I think it allows it to do in a very fair way, even though it is unexaminable. However, I personally will use this, so I still really recommend it because I think it fits my style and I think it fits the type of things that I do. With the mentalism spin, I feel you can really play around with this and have some fun. So yes, I will be using it. So I'm giving Canon by David Regal an 8.25 on 10. I do have some gripes with it. I do have some gripes with the envelope that I feel, that could have cut some cost, because I don't feel anyone is really going to use that envelope. And it is a gimmicked envelope. It is really well made. So there are a few things. The fact that it's uninspectable, I can't really give it extremely high marks, but it is still something that I will be using, I will be enjoying, and that I will be performing. So it gets an 8.25 on 10 from me. Having said all of that, thank you so much for watching. As always, like and subscribe. If not, leave a comment down below if you have any questions whatsoever about the product, and I will be more than happy to answer. So having said all that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next review. Bye-bye.